Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan, along with my co-host, Nassau Community College student Stacy Rain.
Bill, I'm sure you're like me and you have spent a lot of time online, but have you ever wondered, how does all that information actually get on the web?
I have, Stacy, and today's guest has the answer. Today we'd like to welcome Greg Gregorian, the webmaster of the website longislandwebmaster.com.
Greg, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Greg, let's start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you learned to design and build websites.
Well, of course, my name is Greg Gregorian. I'm the Long Island Webmaster. And I started building websites when I was around, I'd like to say 11, 12 years old. I started with wrestling forums. So professional wrestling forums, yep.
Oh, we got another common ground. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
I love professional wrestling. So when I found out about professional wrestling and Vince McMahon's WWE, and at the time it was WWF, I just fell in love. And I had a computer already, a Windows 95, and my parents blessed me with that in my room. And I would wake up at night and I would go on that computer and I'd play solitaire and chess as a boy. And then I would, my father being a mechanic, he had flatheads and all types of Phillips. So I would take those tools and I would take the computer apart and put it back together. And my parents they just knew.
Now, take this the right way. You sound like you were one of those nerdy geniuses who you basically self-taught is what I'm hearing. Is that correct?
I was self-taught because at the time, there wasn't really too many teachers. There wasn't online courses. There wasn't really anything you could do other than go to a public library or hire somebody to teach you or to go to a seminar. And at that time, I just didn't have those options.
So it was easier fiddling around yourself, learning, and then you probably learned even better because you learned through trial and error.
Well, at the time, it was hardware, which is kind of far from, not far, but a little down the road from Webmaster. And it would lead me down there because obviously you have to deal with hardware, software, browsers, and then websites. So when I got to deal with the hardware, it kind of allowed me to go further down the rabbit hole and learn what I had to learn. And honestly, I rather have it that way, going from hardware, software, browser down to websites than rather going the other way, vice versa.
You're the webmaster of longislandwebmaster.com, so I'd love for you to tell us all about it. So what is the site about?
So this is a webmaster site. We offer website management services. So that could be website hosting, website design, content. It could be backlinks. It could be security and maintenance. And I want to get a little into how I got into this company, this brand. Well, when I got the company, the brand, I was working for a law firm, and it was AmazonSellersLawyer.com for CJ Rosenbaum. And this guy was just a wealth of knowledge. He had the website already down. He needed a webmaster. And this guy really, really allowed me to play with the website and put my name out there that I can make a profitable website. You know, we made a lot of money off that website as a third-party law firm service for Amazon, that if you even search Amazon law firm on Google, it's the first result. Amazon lawyers, it's the first result. Anything Amazon law firm related, it's the first result. Amazon suspensions. So we had to make this website great, that it would last 10 plus years on the search engine rankings, where this man can make money, and as a result, I could make money.
Can you tell me, how does someone acquire the necessary skills and knowledge to become a webmaster? I think that's a really cool term. We were talking about it before the show. But were you all the way self-taught, or do you go to a school and get a certain degree that says you are an official webmaster?
I went to high school, to Syosset High School, but I did take a year or two to go to Information Technology High School in Long Island City. And I thought I would learn what I had to learn, but I knew way more than I should have at the time. It was a new school. It was a new program. It was like 2007, and they just didn't have the resources. They had the resources, the computers, but they didn't have the way of executing what they needed to get done to get the knowledge in the students. And they didn't even teach what a webmaster was. So I had to go back to Syosset, graduate, and then I went to San Diego Miramar Community College, and they didn't have any webmaster courses there either, where I can just get an A+ easy, you know, just fly through it and just get it done with. and so I had to take business classes. So there wasn't really any classes available. It was really like, since Tim Berners-Lee invented the first website in August 6, 1991, since then it's like, it's so new. Websites are so new. They've only been around for 32 years. So if you really think about it, who was going to teach you back then? Since it was so new, we were all learning.
Do you ever say to yourself, though, I mean, to me, it's an amazing term, and I think it holds a lot of weight and a lot of intelligence. Do you ever say to yourself, I'm a webmaster? It's like someone saying, wait, I'm a dentist, I'm an orthopedic surgeon or a CPA.
I have to humble myself every morning when I wake up, in a sense, because I know what I know. I research all day. I read over 100 articles a day. If you times it by 365 days, I'm always reading. I'm learning from every website I work on. I've worked on over 400 websites. I've learned from lawyers, doctors. I've learned from, countless people, civics lawyers, natural health planner. There's a whole directory on my website with websites listed that I just put up, new websites. So I'm working with countless amounts of websites every week, and I'm just learning. And I think that's why I'm addicted to this job, is because I get to know what you know and what I know, and I get to go and I learn what I know. I learn from your website, and I get to apply it to my own business.
And Stacey and I get to learn from you today, so this is great.
Exactly.
We get all the knowledge. He does all the hard work, and we get it by asking him questions.
Well,
great.
That's my job, is, to take in all this knowledge and pass it on to the next, because that's ultimately what we do in life. Is like we gather information and we pass it on to the next. We have to pay it forward. Like going back to C.J. Rosenbaum, he helped me so much with of course, the paycheck. I've worked for it, but, I used that money for the business, and he helped me with the business, with public relations, marketing. He also let me in on a lot of meetings that with other people that he was paying to give me insight into knowledge that I wouldn't have had. So, and Andrew Hazen at LongIsland.com, another great webmaster. He's a lawyer. He's a webmaster. He's a businessman. Those type of people inspire me, because even though I might be better in the technical aspects of being a webmaster compared to those people have been able to create a popular website and keep it going. And that is just a sign of a great webmaster. Imagine LongIsland.com. It's been around from the 90s. It's the number one website on Long Island. It has the keyword. If you're a business on Long Island, you strive to have that keyword, that backlink. If you're a local Long Island business, that's what you want at the end of the day. So that's like what you aspire to be as a webmaster. You look at these great websites. Look at Nike. Nike pays over $20 million a year in website hosting. Immaculate website, and that's just the hosting, not even for the webmasters.
Stacey, I have to say, isn't it nice and refreshing to see how Greg gives credit to the people who helped him? I think it was Mr. Rosenbaum, you said?
Rosenbaum, C.J. Rosenbaum is one of them. I have to say that without him, I probably wouldn't even be sitting here right now. And I have to say with Hazen, he's another one. Like without him, because Hazen bought the company originally from a guy who owned Envision Free. So when I was doing those professional wrestling forums, that Envision Free was the one that was hosting me, because they were providing the forums for message boards. So when Hazen bought LongIsland.com from Envision Free, it was like, whoa, I never thought that would happen. And now I'm working with the guy.
We'll have to have another whole show about wrestling, but let Stacey get involved.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Don't get me into my voices of, Macho Man and, Hulk Hogan, The Rock,
that might
Stone
be 3
Cold.
shows.
I even like Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, all of them.
There you go.
Give me a hell yeah. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin, 316.
Well, so I don't know a whole lot about wrestling, but I'm super interested in how you've been mentored really well throughout your career. So it sounds like you were self-taught, and then you found really good mentors. So I'm curious if there are students now considering a career in web development, like they have access to more classes and people than you probably did so many years ago. So what advice would you give someone who was interested in this kind of career regarding the role of webmaster?
You can watch YouTube videos. You can watch, you could do all that stuff. You can go out there and you can look at someone in a seminar. But I'm telling you, the only way to get experience and become a great webmaster is to go and build a website. Build a website and learn from your own website, and then go and learn from other people's websites. I got to be honest, the first 50 websites I built out of 400 plus websites I've gone through, I was kind of winging it. Like I knew what I was doing, But there was other components that I didn't know. There was third-party plugins. There was third-party applications. There was other softwares that were developed by random companies. Obviously, I have to learn these things. And once I got to a certain point, I was like, whoa, I know all this stuff. But you have to always learn about the new things coming out. There's always a third-party application created by another company that can cause a conflict or can aid your website. So you look at these things and you have to always be changing.
You are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Stacey Rain, here with Bill Horan, and today we're talking to Greg Gregorian, the webmaster of the website LongIslandWebmaster.com.
Greg, the term webmaster, should every business, like a typical business, whether it's a doctor's office or 300 or 400 people working in a retail business, etc., should every business have a webmaster working with them, or do they need one like they would need an accountant, etc.?
It depends. It really does. If your website you're trying to make money from your website, I can see people like they have a Wix website and they have a retail store, and that physical store pushes traffic towards that Wix store. But that Wix store is not getting the top 10 ranking on search engines. So they're really relying on their store traffic. They're relying on referrals. They're relying on their email, their social media. But they're not just having people go on the organic search, Google, Yahoo, Bing, and we can go into Russian search engines, Yandex. We can go into Chinese search engines, Baidu. We can go into all sorts of search engines. There's thousands of them. Amazon is a search engine. You go on Amazon.com, there's a search bar. It's a search engine. We have to do whatever we can to use the tools that are available to us. If we know that 92 to 96% of people in America that have the internet, World Wide Web usage, and they go to Google to search for these products and services, then we got to use that to go and market and advertise.
I'm going to interrupt you right there because I'm an old math teacher, and now you're talking numbers. Did I hear you correctly? 92 to 96%.
Yes, it could fluctuate.
So that's almost everybody. There's only a 4 or 8% difference. So over 90% is a safe number. 9 out of 10 people are going to Google if they're looking for a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, or a new couch.
For navigational reasons, information reasons, for commercial reasons, for anything that has to pertain to information products or services, people are really using the search engine to look up. And it can even be Amazon.com, but in the context of search engines, if we're looking at Google, Bing, Baidu, Yandex, DuckDuckGo, Google is the monopoly.
You're talking it sounded like Cartoon Village over there with DuckDuckGo, and it sounded like names of cartoon characters. Stacey, did you know the numbers were that high?
I actually just read about it yesterday because there's a lawsuit right now.
Yeah, okay.
Against Google.
She stays on top. See that? Like you. She stays on top, reads before the show. She knows all this, and I'm just learning from you. So huge
lawsuits always. Yeah. But you got to think like these names are random. But if you go to Russia, Yandex is the search engine. It's not Google. It's Yandex. If you go to China, it's not Google. It's Baidu. So you have these countries where they have their version of Google. When you're in China, you're not using Google. You're using Baidu.
Of course, I mean, it makes sense now that I'm talking to you, but when you throw those names out real quickly, I could just see a whole bunch of comic strip or cartoon characters, and they sound like fun little guys running around doing whatever they do. So
yes, because Google, it's dominate. Google is the company was helped by Tim Berners-Lee, the first webmaster. So when Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web, August 6, 1991, Google came around 7 years later, but they reached out to Tim Berners-Lee because he developed the first browser. Netscape's coming around and all these big players are coming. So Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the founders of Google, they say, hey, let's get Tim Berners-Lee on board. Let's get him to teach us how to create a better search engine for webmasters, aka website owners, and let's start indexing websites and let's put the best websites on the top. So right now, like if you look at what the best website is, it's like, what is the best website? Well, they have the best hosting. What is website hosting? So website hosting is they have the best hardware. So, you have hosting companies, they have servers, computers that are stacked on top of each other. And you wonder, why are they in Arizona? Why are they not in New York? Well, Arizona is not humid, it's dry, the material doesn't rust, it has a longer shelf life, basically. So they put these servers in these dry areas. It's not humid, and they run so much water through them to cool them down. And these servers are just so high quality. It's like having a Mac versus an HP. If you have a Mac, you could process information quicker than versus an HP at the end of the day. Just the Mac has more CPU and RAM. It has better resources. It has better material. It's just the material in it is a higher quality that when they mine the material and they process it in the factory, they manufactured it.
I think if they have a webmaster college, Greg is going to be the dean, the first dean. Just the way with the terms he's throwing out and how easily he knows all this stuff. So.
I agree. We're getting a real class right here. So I'm curious, so websites, I mean, they've been around for, we said 30 years.
Yes.
How have they changed from the beginning to now? Like what's the big difference and why do people really need a webmaster today?
Well, you have Web 1.0, you have Web 2.0, you have Web 3.0. So when you have Web 1.0, that's basically your static HTML, hypertext markup language, cascading style sheet, CSS. And then you have some Java, Flash, JavaScript incorporated if you want to. But the websites in the beginning, since the internet wasn't what it is now, the ISP, the internet service providers, you needed to plug into a wall, basically a telephone line. And so websites back then, they were supposed to be more textual than media filled because the media would take hours, sometimes minutes, sometimes hours to load. And you don't know if it would load. So in the beginning, websites weren't meant to load quickly. They were just meant to show text. Professors were exchanging information from universities. That's where the really webmasters come from. Tim Berners-Lee, when he created the first website, he was in Switzerland in a university. And he was building it. And the reason for websites is to transfer information from university to university. Like, this college has a webmaster, universities have webmasters. The webmaster really originates from universities and colleges. That's where they started. And that's where they really have that title. So if you go to any university or you go to any college and you say webmaster, there is one. There is, because that's where it originated. Then you have Web 2.0, you have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have these more forums, message boards, these more complex PHP structures. And with these PHP type websites...
What is it, PHP?
PHP is a type of, it's a coding platform like WordPress. You can say PHP is like message board, InVision-free, vBulletin. It's just code, basically. And you have PHP databases, MySQL. If you went into, that's more like server end, that's like web hosting. Because like if I had to go back to the web hosting part, with the hardware has to be on par. And then when the hardware is great, you have software. And that software is basically the Apache on the server. And then you have the MySQL and you have the database.
You're talking Latin again.
Right.
So you're going to lose us on those because I certainly don't know them. I don't know. Maybe our audience is more familiar, but there's a few expressions in there that we're going to have to write a code book just explaining them or a dictionary.
Yes.
So let me ask you, what's the worst industry for webmasters that really they don't use them enough, or in your opinion, it's an opinion question, that they should be using them more? Is it professionals? Is it teachers? Religion?
It's hard to say, like obviously teachers and business people, because if you look at the Instagram algorithm, the algorithm is geared towards dancing. It's geared towards music. It's geared into travel. It's geared into all that stuff on your feed, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. So they really prioritize that. And then when you really look at the algorithm, if you saw the algorithm, business people and teachers are actually at the end. They're at the end. So they get the lowest reach in the whole algorithm. So if you put out an educational video on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or something like that, you'll actually get less reach than someone that puts out a video of them just dancing.
And this surprised me, especially with the business people, because business is usually associated with money. So people who could probably make more money by getting involved in this end, you're hiring someone like you or an expert to do it for them, you're saying they're on the low end, they're kind of falling behind.
It depends in business. I look at business, I look at a website like this. I look at it like marketing, website, sales. Obviously, you get the website first before you do the marketing. But if it came to it, it would be marketing, website, and sales. First, you got to market your website. You got to tell people, hey, look, LongIslandWebmaster.com, LIWM.org. Put it out there. Let them go to the website. Run social media ads all day. Put your face out there. Put your name out there. Put your tone of voice out there. Have people know who you are. It takes 8 to 10 times of knowing a person before you even put $1 in their pocket. I have to meet you 8 times face to face just for you to give me money. So if I run a social media ad and you see me 8 times in that ad, you're more inclined to call me. So it's good to run 12-week campaigns on social media with just your face, your name, and your tone, because someone's going to watch that video repeatedly and they're going to purchase your product and service just because your face, name, and tone.
I'm amazed at all. I should be taking notes. I feel like I should be sitting in a class with a notebook and getting this all down quickly. And I'm so interested. I'm looking at you and saying all this information. I had no knowledge. Stacey, maybe you did, but this is all new to me.
I think you could write the book. I really, really do.
I've written books, but I ghostwritten them. For the Amazon Seller's Lawyer, I did write portions of it. I did write the content. I wrote I have to say, I didn't write all of them, but I wrote a good portion of maybe those 2,000-3,000 articles on Amazon Seller's Lawyer. I wrote a big chunk. I've written over maybe 2,000-3,000 articles myself.
Wow.
I love to write, and my website itself has over 100 free articles on how to maintain, manage your website. I teach people web hosting, how to get good hardware, software. I teach people how to get a good server in the local area. I teach people design. Because there's 5 components of a website: hosting, design, content, backlinks, and security. So if you have great hosting, great hardware, great software on that hosting, and then the design is streamlined, the code is reduced, compressed images, everything is header, body, footers are streamlined, the database is cleared out, tables are removed, and then the content is optimized for what you're looking for on search engines. If I'm searching for puppies and my website is puppiesworld.com, I have to mention as much that keyword puppies, but I have to mention it in a relevant way without keyword stuff. I have to feed people information. My website needs to become an encyclopedia of what I'm doing for people to understand that I know what I'm doing and I can do it for them. Then the 4th point I would say is the backlinks. Backlinks like longisland.com. You're running a local business, you want that backlink because it funnels domain authority and page authority to your website. And so when people search on search engines, if you have a good backlink authority, your ranking goes up, but your website also has to be fast. So if your design isn't streamlined and your hosting isn't streamlined, your website isn't loading in less than 2 to 3 seconds, you don't get that top rank on Google. Because if you went on Google and you searched for anything and it took less than 2 seconds, it didn't take less than 2 seconds to load, you would not use Google anymore. So Google has an incentive to put high credible pages that are being pointed by backlinks from major publications. The website has to have a secure server that's running efficiently, and it has to have a streamlined design. It has to have the content, and of course it has to be secure. No bots going on it, nobody attacking it. The website is functional and up, nothing taking away from its rank. I know it's a lot of information. That's why I'm trying to get it all in.
You are a wealth of information.
You are.
You are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Stacey Rain, here with Bill Horan, and today we're talking to Greg Gregorian, the webmaster of the website, longislandwebmaster.com. Define backlinks, because I want to make sure that our audience understands what that is.
So if we had to say what backlinks are, it's basically a credibility system. So if you're on News 12 LI, you're on Newsday, you're on longisland.com, you're on Fox News, you're on CNBC.com, and you have all these links, and you have publications with your name and your website link on it, and that link is funneling a follow link, a follow juice to your website. Basically, it will signal to search engines that, whoa, this guy's got something special. This girl or guy, they have something special. Let's boost them up. Let's give them more domain authority and page authority. Let's show it higher in the ranking. But of course, you have to also have those factors of your website has to be secure. It has to have a dedicated IP. It has to be fast. It has to have all these components together to make sure that it's number one. It has to be on a non-shared server. You go on a Google and you look at the top 10 websites, usually you won't find Wix, Squarespace, or Shopify in the top 10. You won't. If you search any product or service, 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to find those types of websites. You're going to find a website that has a dedicated IP, has a good server with good CPU and RAM, good resources. It's not sharing it with other millions of websites like Squarespace, Wix, and Shopify do. They take millions of websites, they put it on the same server, they put it on one computer with the same IP address. That's like sharing your computer with your whole neighborhood, and you're all competing for the same business. And it just doesn't make sense. You should just go get your own website, go get your own dedicated IP. If you have to get a shared server, do it, but make sure that at least you have the dedicated IP so that when Google sees your IP address, it says, hey, this is this website. It's not 1 million other websites associated with it. If one website gets blacklisted on an IP, your website could potentially get blacklisted also. So why gamble with 3 million other websites on the same server just because they give you a CDN, content delivery network? Oh, it loads faster because of our CDN and it's cheaper. No, that's not true. And I have to say, like, people don't even know what Wix is. It's a company based in Tel Aviv, Israel. It's on the stock market in Israel. It's not even a really American-based company. I don't want to say too much. Wix. The guy at Wix, Morty hates me, He hates me.
Don't get in trouble with Morty. But one thing, Stacey, do you notice how excited and when we talk to Greg, this is someone who really loves his work. It's like going to a doctor and he or she immediately can diagnose your problem and say, this probably hurts, let me touch your arm. And right away, you have great confidence. And
I got a shrine to Tim Berners-Lee in my closet. No, I'm just kidding.
But you really seem very happy in explaining this, etc.
I love this job.
Because we're here at a college, and I'm sure many students are listening and saying, wait, this is what I want to be. I love computers. This is the way I grew up like Greg. And being a webmaster sounds like a really cool profession. What would you advise someone listening and someone in the college or high school ranks if they want to get where you are today?
Do what you got to do to get the website domain first. Get the .com, get the .net, .org. GregGregorian.com, .org, .net. I own them all. LIWM.us, .org, .net. I own them all. Long Island Webmasters.com, LongIslandWebmaster.net, .org, NewYorkWebmasters.com, BronxWebmaster.com, BrooklynWebmaster.com, QueensWebmaster.com. If you're coming into this field, you got to know there's guys like me that, they got all the squares covered. And if you want to get into it, you got to stand out. And the only way to stand out is to be honest. You got to be honest.
If someone is looking for you now, after hearing all this, they say, I want Greg as my doctor, accountant, center fielder, etc., meaning that you're the expert. How do they reach you? Through the website? Do they call you? Email?
They can go through LIWM.org, LongIslandWebmaster.com. And I have to say, I don't take every client that contacts me. I got to be honest, because you have to also filter out who contacts you. I don't want to say it. I'll say it. If a strip club contacts me, it's no go. It's not happening.
Oh, darn, my strip club can't use your services. Then I'll have to crush you off.
Well, that's too bad. I got morals and ethics at the end of the day where
we're kidding, of course, and that's a good thing.
I will just say that I'll never make money off another person's misery. So if I know that if I'm doing a website and that that product or service is degrading another person's life or doing something in a negative way, I'm not on board for that. I had a Copacabana.
So we're going to make an announcement. All bad guys, criminals, and drug dealers, don't go to Greg. Don't bother him.
I'm not your guy.
He's not your guy.
I'm not that guy. I wish you the best of luck. I wish you guys, lots of money and success, but not in my world,
Greg, we want to thank you so much for being with us today, and we want our audience to know that our guest has been Greg Gregorian, the webmaster of the website LongIslandWebmaster.com. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you.
I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Nassau Community College student Stacey Rain, and I thank you for listening to this week's episode of My Hometown.
We'd like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC at ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.